Hello, this is Robin with Art and Gifts, and I have done the background of this painting. It's going to be a flamingo ice skating. So I actually painted over another painting. So I have like an ivory color, antique white as the background, and I mixed blue and white for the ice. And then I did a little fence, simple fence. So I'm just going to put this is graphite paper. You can get it at your craft stores. And it has sort of a dull side and a shiny side. And you can use this over and over and over. You put the shiny side down. And then whatever you're going to be tracing. And then you just want to make sure that your tracing fits on there. Nice. And you can use a pen and just trace over it. And I just do a little something, and just test to make sure I've got the right side, which I do. I have the graphite paper correctly down, because there's nothing like tracing a whole painting and then finding out that you had it the wrong way. I'm just going to trace this little flamingo. We're doing a little paint party at the Charlotte Harbor Yacht Club. They have these little knobby knees. Get his little ice skate on there. I might do a second version with his leg out, like the second leg coming out this way. I'm not sure. I think that would be cute too. Okay, so I did this one too high. It's supposed to have these little things holding it on. So instead of tracing it exactly, I'm going to go down just a hair and then come back up so that I can put those little things like I did on this one, so they're the same. And I'm just going to kind of mark the center here, and then maybe just a few of these, how far out it should be. And then I'm going to check I'm going to hold it and check to make sure he's on there. He is, or she is. And then we can paint. So it's faint. You don't want it really dark, because then it'll show through the paint. Can you see that it's traced on there? So then we can paint, and I've got some reds and some whites here that I can use for him or her. I need a little tiny bit of black for the beak, just a tiny bit. Use a little bit of this and some white to mix in with the red to get some variations. Pink. And you can throw a little yellow in there to get a corally color. We'll see. And most likely I'm going to do some Twinkles. I love this stuff. I'm going to put that on the ice so it's sparkly like it is. So I'm going to mix some red and some white to get a pink and start filling them in. If it's dragging, you can wet your brush, tap it off on the paper towel, and then get some more paint. Somehow I managed to get blue on this brush. Let me get that out of there. base his neck in. Just where his legs are. This is a medium-sized brush. For the legs, you could use a liner brush or smaller brush. Just wanted to know where those legs are. If I've got the knobs too big, I can go back in with the blue and white. And then this is the fun part. I'm going to take the red first, kind of go in the center, and I'm just going to flick out. I'm just flicking my brush. Make sure that neck is covered. Then I'll add a little white. Do the same thing. This painting goes pretty fast. It's a fun little painting. We live in Florida, so they wanted a flamingo, but a winter flamingo, so this is what I came up with. A nice skating flamingo. So I'm going to let that dry, rinse my brush off, and I'm going to dry it off on the paper towel and pick up some plain white and get those boots in. The ice skates. And that might need more than one coat because it's on a blue background. And then the skate blade itself, I'm going to use a liner brush. Pretty small, and I mix a little bit of black and white together, make a gray. If you have silver paint, I would do the gray and then the silver on top. And I did a little swirl around the skate, but if you don't like that, you don't have to do that. And just the two little things holding the skate up. And I'm going to turn this canvas so I can get at this a little better. Now if your hand is shaky, you can support your hand with your other hand, or a lot of people put their pinky down. Never really been comfortable doing that, but a lot of people do that. They anchor their hand with their pinky. Okay? So we're going to let that dry a little bit and we'll give it a second coat, those boots. And we can do the beak. I might do a really pale pink for the top of it, and then the black. I had the liner brush in my hand, so that's what I'm using, but you could use the other brush too. Okay, I still had some pink in there, so I'll come back and cover that later. Then I'm going to use the back end of the brush, dip it into the black, tap it off, and tap that in for his eye. You see? go back to the round brush. And mix some more pink and white. Going a little lighter this time and doing the same thing, just flicking out. Starting from the center, flicking out. If you wanted a tiny bit of like more coral look, you might be able to get that look from this, adding some red with the antique white. Let's see here what color that comes up with. It's kind of a different shade of the pink. Just barely touching the canvas to get those smaller strokes, or you could use your liner brush. You could switch over to your liner brush to get some smaller feather lookies. When you take the liner brush out, make sure you twirl it, and that brings it back to a point. And then you can get some really thin feathers in here. Barely touching the canvas. And if you want, you can come in and do a little shading here, just a little bit darker underneath. And then maybe just a little bit lighter on the top. Kind of blend that in. I think it's almost too pale. I'm going to just darken that up a little bit. Back to this bigger brush, clean it off. You can really squeeze it into your paper towel or your cloth, and then just get pure white. Just do a second coat on the ice skates. If you've decided that your flamingo is a boy, you could do black skates. I think the guys wear black skates a lot. Go back to the liner. Just get some white on here, twirl it, and maybe just try to do a little light on the top part of this skate, this ice skate itself, the blade. Just a tiny bit to highlight it. Then I'm going to take some black, twirl it. Sometimes you might get a drop of water right here. Just make sure you wipe that off on your finger, because if it drops down on your painting, you're not going to be happy with that. And I'm going to do some little X's where you're lacing up the skates. I'm just doing 2. If you have more room, you could do 3. But I'm just doing 2 little X's to indicate where they're tying up the skate. just on the front part that's going up the leg. Do you see where I put the little X's? And the other thing I might do is I'm going to get some of this blue, mix it with the white. I just want it a little bit darker than the ice itself. And I might do some like just little curly zigzaggy lines where like maybe they've spun around and gone around. Just some little lines to indicate where they've been on the ice. And then we're pretty much done. You could outline them with the black if you wanted to. I might do the beak a little bit. See, I had a lot of water on the brush, it's spreading out. If that happens to you, dry off one of the brushes and you could pick that up so it didn't go everywhere. Let that dry and then just repaint it. And if doing like the ice skates and the little X's make you nervous with the paintbrush, you can do it with like a posca pen or like a micron pen, into something with permanent ink in it. I just went back, redid the beak. So that is pretty much our little flamingo. Now here his knee is a little bit knobby, so I'm going to try to match that blue. Mix some of the blue and the white. See if I can get that ice color, a little more white. More white. Just get it away from the red. We don't want purple ice. Is that kind of, yeah, that's pretty close. I'm just going to make that little knobby knee a little bit smaller. You see how I just went around and made it smaller? Straighten out that leg. Something spilled here or something. I don't know what that is. I painted over another painting, so there was just something that didn't quite cover it. I'll just cover that up now. There. So there we have our little ice skating flamingo. I hope you enjoyed this painting, and come back and see me again. Thank you. Bye.